the Blind Spot, where we hope to help you find your focus. I'm Lydia, and today we're diving into a topic that affects every single one of us, whether we realize it or not: media bias. In an age of instant information and endless headlines, it's more crucial than ever to understand how the news we consume is shaped and how it, in turn, shapes us. We are often taught that journalists are objective truth tellers, presenting just the facts. In an ideal world, that would be true, but the reality is far more complex. Every news outlet, every reporter, every editor brings their own experiences, their own beliefs, and yes, their own biases to the table. And that's not necessarily nefarious, it's human nature. The problem arises when the bias isn't acknowledged, or worse, when it's deliberately hidden behind a facade of neutrality. Think about it. The choice of which stories to cover, which angles to emphasize, and which sources to quote, and even the language used. These are all editorial decisions that can subtly, or not so subtly, steer public opinion. For example, have you ever noticed how certain issues consistently receive more airtime on one network compared to another? Or how the same event can be described using dramatically different adjectives depending on the publication? This isn't just about different interpretations, it's about framing. And framing, my friends, is a powerful tool in shaping our understanding of the world. Let's take a look at how a simple headline can illustrate this. Imagine a scenario where a new economic policy is announced. One headline might read, "Government implements bold new economic strategy." Another might read, "Controversial policy sparks public concern." Same event, vastly different implications. And it's this constant barrage of framed information that can create a blind spot in our understanding, leaving us with an incomplete or even distorted picture of reality. Let's explore specific examples and strategies to help us find our focus. How do we navigate this complex media landscape and avoid falling victim to unchecked bias? It requires a conscious effort, a commitment to critical thinking, and a willingness to step outside our comfort zones. Here are a few practical tips. First, diversify your news sources. If you primarily get your news from one outlet, you're likely only getting one perspective. Seek out sources from across the political spectrum, not to agree with them, but to understand the different narratives being presented. Compare and contrast how the same event is covered. You might be surprised at the discrepancies. Second, look beyond the headlines. Headlines are designed to grab attention, and often they can be sensationalized or misleading. Always read the full article and pay attention to the details. Who are the sources? Are they credible? Is there a balance of perspectives? Or does the article lean heavily on one side? Third, be wary of emotionally charged language. Words like stunning, outrageous, crisis, or heroic can be indicators that an article is trying to evoke an emotional response rather than simply present facts. Objective reporting aims for neutrality in its language. Fourth, consider the missing information. Sometimes bias isn't about what's said, but about what's not said. What details are omitted? What counterarguments are ignored? A truly comprehensive report would ideally address multiple facets of an issue. Finally, and this is crucial, examine your own biases. We all have them. Our personal experiences, our upbringing, our values, they all influence how we interpret information. Be honest with yourself about your own leanings and challenge them. Are you dismissing a piece of information simply because it doesn't align with what you already believe? This self-awareness is perhaps the most important tool in finding your focus amidst the media noise. And for Christians, the pursuit of truth isn't just an intellectual exercise, it's a spiritual one. The Bible consistently calls Christians to discern, to test everything, and to hold fast to what is good. And that applies just as much to the information we consume as it does to anything else in our lives. Proverbs 18:17 says, "The first to plead his case seems right until another comes and examines him." This ancient wisdom is incredibly relevant today. It reminds us that we shouldn't simply accept the first narrative we hear, especially from the media. We have a responsibility to seek out other perspectives, to examine, and to pray for discernment. The secular media, by its very nature, often operates from a worldview that excludes God. It prioritizes human achievement, worldly success, and often a relativistic view of the truth. As Christians, we know there's an ultimate truth rooted in God's character and His Word. When we consume media, we need to filter it through this lens. Ask yourself, does this news story align with biblical principles? Does it promote justice, mercy, and humility? Or does it glorify pride, division, or materialism? This isn't about rejecting all secular media, but about being discerning consumers. Furthermore, we are called to be people of peace and reconciliation. Media bias often thrives on division and sensationalism, pitting groups against each other. As followers of Christ, we should be wary of narratives that inflame anger or deepen societal rifts without offering pathways to understanding and healing. Our focus should always be on unity where possible and truth always. Ultimately, our trust must be in God and not in any news outlet or political ideology. He is the unchanging truth in a world of shifting narratives. By grounding ourselves in His Word and praying for wisdom, and by actively engaging in critical discernment, we can overcome the blind spots created by media and truly find our focus on what is good, true, and eternally significant. Thank you for joining me today on The Blind Spot. I hope this discussion has encouraged you to become a more discerning consumer of media and to always seek a higher truth. Support continuing this focus by engaging with this video. To further directly support the focus, join the Patreon community at patreon.com/theblindspotpodcast. A link is in the description. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode on the topic of trauma. Have a great day and keep searching to find your purpose.